Guys, major changes are coming to public student loan forgiveness that could be affecting you. Yeah, you. If you plan on using PSLF, stick around or get left behind.
What? But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Now, back in March, Trump ordered the Department of Education to draft new regulations restricting student loan forgiveness. A committee was formed to implement this process, led by Secretary of Education Linda McMahon, to propose new rules that prevent taxpayer PSLF benefits from being provided to organizations involved in illegal activities. On August 15th, the Department of Education released their final restriction rules. Now, to be clear, PSLF isn't going away, but it might as well be. It might as well be, because your employer may not even be eligible for PSLF after these new rules are implemented. Now, there are several major changes that we will go over now. If your employer engaged in any of the following, and there's evidence, they will be ineligible for PSLF. This includes aiding or abetting. In this case, this primarily means aiding illegal immigrants in any way. Chemical or surgical castration or mutilation. Trump defines this as using chemicals or surgeries to delay puberty or alter physical appearance that changes his or her sexual identity or removes any sexual organs. Basically, any hospital that provides treatment for gender-affirming care is no longer qualified. I think this only applies to children, and this surprised me, but they did clarify that if those types of procedures are legal in the state where the employer resides and the employer participates or supports such activities, there would be no violation. They'll get you another way. Trump can be vindictive, but you would not lose qualification for that. There are 27 states that restrict certain medical procedures and treatments. So if those states are providing gender affirming care, they would be disqualified. Trump defines children as anyone under the age of 19 years old. Foreign terrorist organizations, illegal discrimination, which is based on the Civil Rights Act of 1964, as well as the Disability Act and a few others. But this primarily states that discriminating based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin would disqualify you for PSLF. This also likely includes institutions that have DEI programs or employers who've demonstrated anti-Semitism. Other federal immigration laws, basically, if you look at or sniff an immigrant, you gone. Terrorism, trafficking. Another big one is violating state law. Now, they define this as trespassing, disorderly conduct, vandalism, obstruction of highways, or public nuisances. That sound familiar, y'all? You're talking about protesting. Me personally, I have a few questions. Is an employer supposed to fire an employee who engages in protesting? Is an employer responsible for preventing protest on public property? And if so, how do they go about doing that? Can individuals themselves be ineligible for PSLF for simply protesting? I don't know. Now, after June 30th, 2026, your payments won't be qualified under the new rules. But don't worry, any payments made before then would still be eligible. The secretary has to notify borrowers individually if their employer is at risk of becoming ineligible for PSLF. But once the rules are finalized, the borrower may not appeal. So that's it. The secretary herself will look at the evidence and determine if your employer is engaging in illegal practices after June 30th, 2026. Meaning after the start date, Linda is the judge, the jury, and the executioner. That's power, y'all. has power. If your employer lost eligibility, their status could be regained in two ways. One, the employer waits 10 years from the time it became ineligible. I'm not sure how they came up with 10 years, but basically your employer's in jail for 10 years. They come out for good behavior, boom, they're eligible again. Or two, after the secretary approves a corrective action plan. Look, this is a big deal for many reasons. Trump is probably pursuing these amendments to reduce government spending. This will likely be deemed a significant regulatory act. Thus, Trump's policy could save over $100 million, which is a single drop in the oceanic bucket we call the deficit. That's nothing, but let's call a spade a spade. Trump is probably targeting employers who have not complied with his executive orders. Universities like Harvard, Duke, or Columbia, talk about y'all. But Trump coming after all y'all. Trump is coming after everyone. He's looking through every gutter, every crevice, unless you voted for him. It's estimated that 25% of the workforce uses PSLF, which equates to about 83 million people. Talented employers will be more de-incentivized to pursue public service positions. I mean, George Bush started PSLF to convince talented individuals to stay in public service jobs. But Trump said, nope. Look, I think we can all agree in restricting funding for most of these new amendments. So I'll give him credit for that. But some of these policies are very, very sketchy. Look, y'all, this is going to be messy. It's likely going to be riddled with lawsuits. But if you are currently enrolled in PSLF, what should you do? First, don't panic.
What is that?
The fire's shooting at us!
What in the name of God is going on?
It's going to be okay. You have time. Don't do anything stupid, okay? That's the last thing you need to do. Second, place a public comment to express your concerns. You have until 30 days after August 18th to leave a comment. The Department of Education must address your comments. Third, call your employer and ask if they are at risk of being disqualified. They'll likely tell you they aren't sure right now because they're looking through their employer status to determine this, but stay on top of that. Fourth, don't do anything rash. Talk to a professional and wait for the process to play out. If your employer is engaging in illegal processes and notifies you, but you wish to continue pursuing PSLF, you might need to start looking for a job.
Oh!
Which, you know me, it is never too early to start looking for jobs, y'all, because they don't like y'all anyway. So it's never too early. I'll keep you updated on how this plays out, but please, please, please stay informed. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Please give me a like. Please give me a follow. Please give me a share if you enjoyed this content. And as always, peace out.